Black Friday is well and truly upon us, and as usual, one of the best places to be is Appsumo. This marketplace has become a favorite for years now, with lifetime deals to early stage software. So for lots of these software developers, they could go down a route of giving away equity to investors, but instead they come to Appsumo, they launch a no-brainer lifetime deal where a few lucky early adopters are able to get on board, provide them with some upfront cash flow while reaping the benefits of getting that software for life while it's in the early stages, and then enjoying all the improvements that come over time. And Black Friday is no exception. Appsumo always has some really good deals for Black Friday, so you're literally stacking a great deal on top of already great deals, and sometimes you just got to hold back. It's quite difficult to resist the temptation of some of these offers out there. But today I have found an absolute gem in Nytro SEO. Now, on the face of it, this sounds like a title and meta description optimization tool. Now, that's already a really good thing, because I'm sure many of us will share in this that we get a bit lazy, we're churning out content, and when it comes to optimizing the meta title and the meta description that's actually displayed to Google, we tend to get a bit lazy and we just let Google decide for us. After all, a lot of the time, Google will decide a meta title and meta description for you, even if you specified them. That tends to happen more with the descriptions rather than the titles. So we know that frustration. You've crafted the perfect meta description that includes all your keywords and entities, and of course a good call to action to actually win that click. And then you find Google goes and displays something else instead. But of course, that's not a best practice. A lot of the time, Google does take the titles and descriptions you specify. And if you've got a website of hundreds of pages, it makes sense to make sure they've all got really good meta titles and descriptions, because one of those things is free. You don't have to build backlinks. You don't have to get more writers. It's just a small technical improvement. And now with Nytro SEO, it's easier than ever, because with just a few clicks, SEO Nytro will go through your full archive and improve those titles and meta descriptions for you. But that's not all. That's what I was suspecting when I first encountered this software. But actually, having taken some time to really dig in, it's so much more than that. Nytro SEO is not just a WordPress plugin. It's actually a code snippet that you put in the header of your website, just like a Google Analytics tag, and it can therefore render your website separately on the fly. And that means it can actually do far more than just meta titles and descriptions. It will also do your image alt text and adapt other elements on your page, such as your H1 titles. But because this is all dynamically rendered through that tag, it also includes a rank tracker and is therefore able to monitor all the changes it's making over time. And that means that with its tech stack of AI and machine learning, it's able to see the impact of all the changes it's making and therefore continue to refine and optimize. So not only are you going back and adding in all these alt tags, meta titles, descriptions to all your old content where you just didn't bother before, but it's then monitoring those changes and continuing to improve them over time. So this is really exciting. A lot of big agencies that claim to be very white hats, they only do on-page and technical analysis, they don't want to dabble in the dark art of link building. They will literally take your money and just provide you a spreadsheet of meta titles, descriptions, and title changes. So now you can save all those thousands of dollars and get that same benefit from this one tool. And like I say, it's not just a one-off, it will continue to refine and optimize over time. So let's have a look at the back end. Now, there's loads of videos and tutorials on how to actually do this, but I'm going to do the same here. So let's do this for SEO Jesus. It's automatically corrected to HD. Now, if I click on advanced settings, so it even allows me to select which search engines I'm interested in and even different Google locations, but we'll stick with .com for now. And then we add in our keywords and phrases to track. Now, I've hit my ceiling of 10 keywords at this stage, but Nytro seems pretty fair. They've got lots of controls in the settings where you can limit how many credits you actually use so you don't go over, or you can simply get a different Appsumo plan while you still can. But for demonstration purposes, I think we've got a good array here. So now we just go to add website. So we enter in our business information. I'm going to go with business, advertising and marketing. And then we have website type. I'm going to say it's a business. Target location, we'll go with the United States. That's pretty interesting. It's already defined an audience for us based on our keywords, which is actually pretty accurate. Cannabis, adult, econ, and then who's providing the product solution or set, experience and USPs. So in this case, I'm going to go with advanced and effective. You want to avoid cheap and cost effective generally, unless you've got a specific targeting for that. So this all looks pretty good. Now we submit. So it's going to do website analysis and crawling. There's a question mark on full website crawling. It's not ticked because that includes not indexed and redirected pages. So obviously that's going to use a lot more resources for a lot less impact. So I'm going to ignore that one. Checkup, analyze and score meta tags performance. I'm just going to stick with the default settings for now. So that will be started automatically. Now here's the snippet. So this should be quite simple. We just copy that. If you're using something like Google Tag Manager, then you can add that in there. However you added your Google Analytics tag or Facebook Pixel, anything like that, use the same system for this. So you can go into your theme settings and add it in there, but you need to be careful with that, because if you update your theme, then you can end up deleting any customizations like that. So generally what I recommend for that is using a separate plug code snippets. It used to be called WordPress header and footer. And basically that adds a separate container to your header so that you can add in all your pixels in here. And then no matter what you do with your theme or any updates, that pixel remains. So we added it in there and save changes. I am certain this is a false positive. This is just making sure we're not adding any malware. But this is a free plugin. If you search for code snippets or insert headers, footers, then you should be able to find either this or a very similar equivalent. Now refresh that page. If you've got any caching, you might want to clear that. And in the meantime, because of that issue I faced, it doesn't look like this has saved properly. So I'm just going to add that back in and save changes. That's now gone through. So let's have a look at the next steps. Finish that. And yes, it's correctly bringing in my web pages. So these are the automation settings. We've got a number of keywords in title. So basically, how stuffy do you want to get the titles, number of characters, capitalize first word in keywords, capitalize all words in keywords, capitalize all words in the title, number of keywords in the description. So you can really finely tune this. If you have used focus keywords in Yoast or Rank Math, they're going to have priority. And then here's the automation settings. So image alt tags, anchor title tags, metadata title, metadata description, and page footer. We can even change the text size. So I'm going to save and close. I'm not too worried about making too many changes here because it's a separate third-party tool. It's not actually making permanent changes to the site. I can take off that script anytime and it should revert it to the original. I think my only concern with that would be page speed, but we can do some checks later to make sure this is not affected. Now I can see this progress bar running in the top, steadily creeping up, which means it's performing all the work. Now there's two views here. We can view the original and view the optimized. Now, as I say, especially on my personal website, I don't think we've prioritized meta titles and meta descriptions particularly. So I don't actually know whether these are, I don't think these should be empty. So I presume it's still doing the crawl. So we'll just wait a few minutes and then we'll compare the original versus optimized. Okay, we're up to 100%. So started around 7:35. It's now 8:05. So about half an hour. Obviously, there's quite a lot of posts there. If we skip through to the bottom, it's looking like around 300 pages or so. So currently we're looking at the original version and you can see how lazy we've been here. I think because we've been using a lot of automated AI tools. So all lowercase, and it's just the straight meta title we were using originally. So now if we go, currently looking at the original, if we switch over to optimized, so now we can see this far more structured. So minor feedback so far would be, it's a bit shoehorny. We didn't give it a whole long list of keywords because we only had a few to play with. So I'd encourage you to get a bigger plan while you can using the lifetime deal, because you can see we've got SEO for Google News, and that's been stuffed with e-commerce SEO trends. So not ideal, but if you actually had your full keyword list, then obviously they'd be mapped much more accurately. And actually just looking around the software, there's a lot of other nifty little tools. So if I click the ... here, I can actually no index any pages. So I don't like, because bearing in mind, we've got that script in the header, it can apply other tags like no index. So if you want to remove anything from Google's index when you realize that you've actually got on the site that's getting indexed, you can just take it out that way. Now, frankly, there seems to be far more going on here than I can possibly cover in a simple 10-minute video. So we can see it's running some other process in the background. I'm not too sure what that is. But if we come down here, we've got scoring of our various keywords, user search intent objective, USI short, USI long. So kind of getting into semantics there and finding the long tails. What are people actually trying to achieve with this keyword? And therefore, what can we put into that meta description to suit that? So this is interesting going through. It tells us specifically which pages are actually indexed. So of course, it can be surprising. Google's indexing far fewer pages than it used to, and some pages can even drop out of the index. So if you do have a big site, it really pays to keep an eye on that. And I can basically trigger whether I want to keep the automatic optimization on or not. So I think that dynamic mode might well be the machine learning element, which is what I'm trying to find. And we can even analyze the page with page speed, rich results, schema markup. So there are a lot of shortcuts in this tool. So I said I wanted to check the page speed with all this optimization running on the fly. So in this case, it's failed. We might actually want to check that with and without the tool to get an accurate estimate of how much, if any, the tool is adding. Okay, it's now crawling for its checkup process. I'm not too sure what that means, but we'll find out. It seems to be progressing fairly quickly. Now that second layer of optimization seems to have finished. So we've given an overall score before of 74. So really nice before and after, 74, now 89. You can email or download the findings that I'm just interested in progress. What's the new status? So everything here is green. Obviously you need to work out what they're regarding as green. So lots of data to actually dig into here, but everything looking a lot clearer now. So we're given a good pie chart, 305 pages, 162 now into the green. Right, I get it now. So there's 2 panels here. We've got pages to manage, and then we can see the changes made there as well as scoring. And then the metadata is actually a whole separate panel. So that's where we have optimized versus original, but then managing the pages, I think that's more to do with the tags and other on-page changes. So looking at one example here, if I go to inspect, then we can see this image now has the affordable e-commerce SEO services alternative text. So overall, this feels really early stage, but full of potential. So obviously a big focus on the meta tags, the titles, the descriptions, and a few forays into alternative text and other on-page changes. But I can see what they're doing, having this monitoring system across the whole site at once, not forgetting they're going to be aggregating that data from across all the websites they manage, which means they're going to be compiling a huge amount of data about what's working and what will continue to work into the future. So I wouldn't be surprised if by having this tag on your site, as they get more and more data about what's ranking well, they may well start applying some of these findings automatically across everyone who's on using their tag. But for now, even just ignoring that, you can see clear advantages to optimizing meta tags. I would say go for a higher plan just because I hit 10 keywords and then had the same 10 keywords being shoehorned in places where they didn't belong so much. But I think if you've got a plan with the right number of keywords for your website, then that'll be a big benefit, keeping your meta titles up to date over time and constantly improving and adapting as well. So as with all Appsumo deals, they don't come around very often. Plus we've got the Black Friday exclusive. So I'd take advantage today and grab yourself a plan. Even if you just use it to improve your meta titles, I'm sure that's going to save you a lot of time and give you a lot of benefit.